Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
I am Rob Charney, Old Guy Tech TV, and we're here with Sheriff John D'Agostini. John, good to see you again. As always, you know, he's a big supporter of our show, and, you know, we get opportunities to talk about a lot of different things. And so I'm going to mix it up a little bit today on this show because we got a number of issues. And one of the ones that I want to talk to the sheriff about now that we have our president elected again for another 4 years is the Second Amendment. And John, where do you see, or do you think we may have an attack on the Second Amendment?
Well, every day we're getting attacks on our Second Amendment.
Right.
Daily, it's the way it is. That fight's always going to be there. That's why we always need to stay vigilant and stand up and make sure that we get the right people sitting in the right seats in our legislature.
And that didn't work.
Well, but now that they're in there, whoever it is, continue to write letters, make phone calls, emails, stay on top of them, because if they're going to make a vote on something such as, you know, the UN Small Arms Treaty is going to go back on the table again.
Right.
Let them know how you feel.
Right.
I firmly believe that the first go around was at September 27th. Is that when it was?
It's in that, yeah.
And it just kind of.
You have a better mind for numbers.
No, not all the time. they put a hold on it. Why? Because the people were outraged, and they let them know they were outraged about it.
Right.
Now that, you know, as the open mic stated after the election, he'll have more, whatever the word was he used.
Well,
the Second Amendment. And I read something the other day, and we were talking about it earlier. The only way to change it is by another amendment or a vote to abolish it or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Or the Supreme Court interprets
takes a different position
on it. Takes a different position and interprets it another way.
Right.
And we all know, you know, it's kind of common knowledge that this president, or President Obama in his second term, will have opportunity for 2 new appointments.
Right.
And depending on who that is and which direction they go, we need to stay on top of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we're disappointed with the Chief Justice Roberts on that last decision. He kind of flopped a little bit on it, and so that hurts a little bit when you don't really know where the Supreme Court is truly standing on certain issues. So I agree with you. I think we're going to have to stay vigilant with it, and I think we're going to have to continue keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, I would say even more so than we've been.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, so we have with the same issue. I believe, maybe you do too, is that the assault weapon ban will be reinstated.
Could be. I think they'll go after everything. They're always
they'll throw the whole thing in there. Yeah, but you know, Feinstein, our senator here in California, is really pushing for an assault weapon ban completely with confiscation. I can't even speak today, but anyway, that's what she's calling for. Well, and no grandfather clause. I mean, she just wants them out of the hands, and yet she doesn't have the statistics to back it up as far as how few are actually used in crimes.
The anti-gun group never has had the statistics.
Right.
It's all emotions.
Right.
That's what they base it on. That's what they go on, is all emotions. It's similar to the suction dredge mining. Mm-hmm. It's not based on good science.
Right.
It's all based on
junk science is what we call it. Right.
Suction dredging may do this.
Right.
It might do this. It could do this. I want to see something that says it does do this. They can't do that because it doesn't exist.
Right.
It's
the fish and game laws are
on emotions.
The same thing. They don't allow hunting of mountain lion, right? Yeah. Now you can't use dogs for bear and bobcat. Right. They changed that. They're going to change the name from fish and game to fish and wildlife.
There you go.
Okay, so now we're eliminating the sport part of fish and game. There's no more game. It's now wildlife. So the whole idea is to completely just take sport hunting completely out of the picture. You know, they've attacked fishing. Fishing's being crazy, and maybe so to some degrees because the fisheries have been fished out in some areas. So some of that I understand. I mean, I believe personally that, you know, we live on this planet, we need to take care of it, but let's use the correct science and not the junk science.
Common sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. And emotion gets involved with it so much.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
All emotion. It's all
Yeah.
about the emotion.
It's all about the emotions. And, so we've got to stay vigilant with it and make certain that we get our voice across. And the scary thing right now, right, isn't it, didn't the Democrats come out and say that they have gained a supermajority in California? So now they secured the critical 2/3 majority in the state Senate. So that's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. But we still have the assembly's not there yet, so there's still some check and balance, a little bit check and balance that can happen there. But again, we need to stay on top of, and even if they're not your elected officials,
right?
Those that are elected in a district, sure, they answer to their constituents, they answer to those people that put them in office,
right?
But they also serve the entire state.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And
they represent all of us.
Absolutely, you are welcome. Right. Everybody is welcome to, and I encourage them to write the letters, the emails, the phone calls.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what? Emails are not as effective as they used to be now.
No.
Actually, picking up the phone and calling is proving to be probably the best way, because they actually write it down. They say, okay, this a person called on this issue and they were pro or against, whatever it may be.
Right.
So they're doing that. So there've been a lot of tools that have been made out there. It's called the one click, where it sends out all these emails to all of them. They don't even look at them; they're counted anymore. Right. So if you're going to go ahead and write to your representative, either write it out in a letter and mail it, or get on that phone and call.
Call.
Yeah. And I find, even if you don't agree with the position, I've called many legislators, and their office people, they're more than happy to take your opinion and write it down. They seem to be very helpful.
Yeah.
So they're doing their job.
Be polite.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't get in there and start yelling at them. That's not going to work.
Be courteous, but absolutely make the call. And if you look at the time to effort that's involved, making a call is probably the quickest and the easiest way to get this done.
Right.
For our time.
Yeah, and we're going to have to do that. So what scares me a little bit about, I mean, see how you feel about this, with a supermajority like they talk about, and also with the passage of Proposition 30, I am so surprised that Californians are willing to tax themselves more. I don't get it.
I am too, Rob. And I think I mentioned on a previous show that I was one of 5 sheriffs that voted no on the state sheriff's from the State Sheriff's Association.
Right.
When we made that decision. And I was curious to see if 30 would have lost by a small margin, not a large margin, but a small margin, what the fallout would have been for us 5 sheriffs that stood up and said no.
No, right.
Now that we have Proposition 30 here, the people voted. They are going to be paying more. They're going to be taxed more. At the store aisles and any purchases that they make with the sales tax increase,
right? And
then those making over, I believe it's $250,000 a year, basically,
right,
will be paying more in taxes. The governor, he's a smart guy, and he's very obviously he didn't get where he is not being politically savvy.
Right.
He knows what his voter base is.
Yep.
He knows where they come from. He knows what income demographic they're in.
Yeah. It was a close for him, though. He panicked towards the end. He saw it going the other way, and I know there was a big push. A lot of money was thrown at 30.
Absolutely. But now we have it.
Yeah.
And it's everything. I've received the phone calls and the meetings on the streets and in different events that I've been to since the election, and it started off the day after the election, for sure. I was walking around, went down to Placerville at a meeting, and had a few other meetings, and it seemed like there was this just veil of depression.
You did feel that way up here, didn't it?
It felt very odd.
Yeah.
But I've been everywhere. I've been talking and giving presentations or whatever. We're Americans.
Yeah.
This is done. What's done is done.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's suck it up, get back to work, put a smile on our face, and get past it. If it didn't go our way this time, what did we do wrong? Does it mean make more phone calls? Does it mean write more letters? Does it mean, those people that are now in office, start getting their ears, start talking to them, going to the town hall meetings, going to the different events where they are at, and showing your face. It's not in our I believe this, and I heard this a while ago, and I thought about it a lot. DNA of Americans
Right.
is unlike any other culture in the world. We only have known freedom. That's all we've known. We were born on freedom. When we came over here and started the colonies, we got so ticked off by the king
Right.
doing what he was doing.
Right,
That's
yeah.
why we became a nation.
Yeah.
So we have only known freedom. It's in our DNA. I like to think positively, very positively, and think as bad as it is, as bad as it could get, and as bad as it may get, we will come out of this okay, because it's not in our DNA. Even those, even those that may think differently than we do, how we talk. When it hits them, it's the old saying, they taxed this, it didn't bother me because I didn't do this. They regulated this, didn't bother me because I didn't do this. There's going to come a point where even those that aren't affected are going to start being affected.
Sure.
And
Sure.
they're going to wake up. That DNA is going to rise to the top. And we'll be a free nation
Yeah.
as we're supposed to be.
And I guess that was why I was so surprised that 30 passed. I mean, I really felt in this atmosphere that voting to raise your taxes just didn't. It wasn't in my DNA. Let's just put it that way. I couldn't see where that was a benefit. So I was really surprised, and because and I understand my understanding, and I haven't been there for a while, but I grew up and was born in Santa Monica and lived there. And a good friend of mine says, the sales tax in Santa Monica is over 10%.
It'll be 10 and a quarter now.
So it's going to be 10 and a quarter. So, gee, you wonder why there's no car dealerships in there? Do you wonder why there's no? I mean, what a great way just to get rid of business. Let's just, in the state of California, make a decision that we don't want business here anymore. Let's raise the sales tax and charge the corporate tax on top of that. I made, on our political night, I made the statement, and I'm going to stand up to it. My opinion is that we should not tax any corporation. Should be no taxes, zero, zilch. Because it's really a triple tax on corporations. Okay, they pay taxes on what they buy and use. They pay taxes on their employees. They're already paying taxes. So how do we want them to bring jobs back into this area? By taxing them more? Do you wonder why all these jobs are going overseas? We're backwards. We're so backwards. I can't believe it.
And the bottom line of everything is why do we pay taxes? What was the original intent of taxation? It was to support a limited government.
Limited.
Correct?
And that was
for limited government and the
was
national
right.
defense.
Right.
That's right. That's what it was for, to support a limited government.
Right.
And now our taxation has come to a point where, do we truly have limited government? We all know the answer to that one.
Right.
Absolutely not. We don't.
Yeah.
When in this Proposition 30, it was for, they really pushed it for education.
Yeah, it was supposed to be for schools.
Education.
It isn't.
Most of it was for the constitutional guarantees that the governor wanted for realignment funding.
Yep. And it also stated in for the general fund as well.
And for the general fund, right?
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they want with that,
Whatever they want
right?
with that money.
Okay, well, how many times have we heard that and they say, well, this is going to be for the schools, this is going to be for the kids, or this is going to be for public safety, and how many pennies of every dollar actually end up where they're supposed to go?
Now, won't that be interesting to watch in the next few years?
Create the
Where did it go?
bureaucracies that's created with these funds and the oversight committees, and it's just...
you know what I didn't
government.
notice in 30? Is there a sunset in it?
20... Yes, there is.
So it ends in...
I can't remember.
I want to say, I thought it was like 14 years or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah,
It may not be that high. That's a long sunset. But
yeah.
But you know what?
How many... They never sunset.
Yeah.
They get extended.
Yeah, they find a way.
They never quit.
Well, they just build another one is what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So that never changes. I don't know. I'm just dumbfounded because I think it's so important that we get people working and want to work, and it's so important that we get corporations and small companies, to hire people, and it's just not the atmosphere for it. I mean, you talk to a lot of these business people, and here I'm in a business where I'm trying to sell advertising and trying to get their message across and do that, and people are just going, I'm just scraping by.
I don't have any advertising dollars.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're doing the best we can to try to help them a little bit, but you can only do so much. And it's really sad for me, and it's going to be interesting to talk to Trish Wilkins, who just won her seat as a councilwoman, in 6 months from now and a year from now. because you go to downtown Placerville and it is sad. It is very sad. There are so many shuttered buildings there. It's not what it was. I can tell you that.
Any small town, Sutter
Yeah.
Creek, Jackson, Grass Valley, Nevada City, Placerville, all the little towns. You look at the vacancy rate and see what's there. Nobody's looking to come in. Everybody's looking for a place to go.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good.
Not
No, it's a shame. But hopefully, I'm like you. I want to stay positive. I'm going to keep trying to help people get their message out, get our own message out, and stay positive and see if we can't turn this thing around. I mean, it just...
Well, one of the things that I'm looking at is I go back to the beginning. Nations, countries, states. The bottom line is what keeps them going is natural resources. I mean, even if you look at industry, a manufacturing company or a manufacturing business, those natural resources that create that product, if you're talking product, we're not talking people businesses,
Right.
product, start with a natural resource, whether it's for mining, timber production, whatever it is.
Right.
And, you know, we live here in El Dorado County with the El Dorado National Forest. Our forest produces over 200 million feet a year. That's the growth rate.
Right.
That's the sustained growth rate. 200 million feet a year. Yet we're harvesting 10, 15 million feet a year. We've seen the condition of our forest because of that.
Yeah.
They cut back. You know, we talked about the on different different shows. We've talked about the travel management plan and the road closures and everything that goes along with that. There's a program that happened, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers are aware of it or have looked into it in Apache County, Arizona, after the Wallows fire up there. And they, along with the cooperation of the sheriff, the county council, which is like our board of supervisors, and an attorney named Doyle Shamley, going in under the premise of this is a public safety issue. Are now, when they had no mills, similar to where we are now.
No,
the
right.
economy shut everything down.
Right.
Now, I believe it was a week or so ago, they opened their 5th mill.
Wow.
And they're doing wonderful things. I had Doyle come up and just give a real brief presentation to, it was then the 2 District 3 candidates. Supervisor-elect Ron McAlaka was there. There were some other folks from here, Nevada County, Shasta County, Amador County came. Just a real brief overview of what the program was and how it works and how to get it going, to plant the seed.
Right.
And then what I'm hoping is after the new year, the new board gets in and they get settled, I'm going to have, I'd like to call a special meeting and in a large venue and have Doyle come up and give the whole program and how it can work. How they did it in Arizona, exactly like that, won't work in California because our state constitution is a little bit different. We have a few different laws and regulations. But the premise is sound, and I firmly believe that it will work. And start utilizing and making the best use of that natural resource. I've watched since I was on the school board before I became sheriff.
Right.
In 2003, I watched our timber receipts, our Title III's money, go from, I think it was $180,000 a year down to $5,000, $6,000.
Yeah, virtually nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nothing.
Right.
You know, I've talked to superintendent of schools here, Vicki Barber, about this, and she seemed excited. She wants to learn more, which we all do need to learn a lot more about how the program works. But that's again, it's natural resources that are there that we are not managing and utilizing properly. I'm not saying go in and clear cut our forests.
Right.
That's not what I want to see. But we can make it a safer environment without the risk of major catastrophic fire, which is there right now.
Right, I know. That's right. We got through another lucky period.
Absolutely.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And at the same time, while making it safer, at the same time, reaping some benefit and the rewards of what that natural resource is able to provide us.
Exactly. Well, and my argument always is the difference between preservation and conservation. It's the difference between wise use versus no use.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're going, is no use. I think the federal government has lost track of who actually owns our forests. And they've made it so onerous on these timber companies. They can't afford to harvest.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gotten ridiculous. So our wood's got to come from somewhere.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The Forest Service, they're and I don't blame them. I mean, they're so afraid of lawsuits, and that's every time they come up with a timber sale or whatever, or some plan, they get hit with a suit. Well, part of the reason for that is the Equal Access to Justice Act, wherein organizations are able to file suit against the federal government and be reimbursed for their legal costs.
Oh, wow.
But that only applies to the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
So if the local governments can have some little bit more control or a little bit more responsibility, I'd be willing to take on that responsibility, cut that Equal Assistance to Justice Act component out of it, you'll see the lawsuits fall dramatically. That's what they've seen in Apache County.
Right.
Because the feds aren't the ones to do it, the ones doing it.
That's what we have to do. We've sorry to all my attorney friends, but we've got too many attorneys and too many people looking for stuff to do, and it just drives me crazy. It's a lot like the ADA laws that are, I understand them and I appreciate it. And, you're talking to a guy here with a bad back that at times had to use one of those carts to get around the store. So I know all about it. But, when you're shutting down businesses that have been there for 40, 50 years, I think there's a problem. But that's for another...
And it's not because they're discriminatory.
No. It has nothing to do with being discriminatory. It's just many of the buildings, especially the older ones, just can't be retrofitted.
Right.
It's just not possible.
Right.
So they have to shut down. That's their only choice. Not a good choice. Well, a little bit on the one of the things that I wanted to talk about also a little bit here is as we're getting into the holidays and the Christmas time and situations are coming up now, we've got some issues that we want people to be aware of. One is crime during holidays that can happen. And so I want to talk a little bit about when you go Christmas shopping, and I'm sure you'll back me up on this. You've got to be careful on where you put your presents and how you show things. We had a number of years ago when our kids were little, we had a Suburban type vehicle, so there was no way of really hiding a bunch of stuff that Paula had bought. So she went shopping, put a bunch of stuff in the Suburban, went back to do some more shopping, and lo and behold, she came back, the windows were smashed out, and the presents were all gone. And so what would your advice be for people going holiday shopping now?
A lot of things. Obviously, the obvious. Keep your presents and gifts or anything in your vehicle out of sight. Mm-hmm. Keep them in the trunk. If you don't have a trunk, if you have an SUV or whatever, put them under a blanket. Keep everything out of sight, because that's what the knuckleheads do. Is they go around, they look, oh, I want that. They go get it.
Right.
Park in lighted areas and lit areas if you're shopping at night. If you see there's cameras around in a parking lot security, look for an area where you can see a camera from where you are, because if you can see a camera,
they can see you.
The camera can see you, and
right.
Typically the thieves they're doing the same thing. They're looking around for cameras. Another thing we see a big increase in over the holidays is mail theft.
Right.
If you have a roadside mailbox or a driveway and mailbox, get there as quick as you can after the mail has been
delivered.
Dropped.
Right.
And if you are mailing money to nieces, nephews, grandsons,
presents, whatever it may be, don't put it in your box.
Don't put it in your box.
No.
Go to the post office and put them there.
Yep.
And then a lot of folks nowadays are doing a lot of online shopping over the holidays. Be very careful when you're holiday shopping. Make sure that you are dealing with a reputable company or somebody that you trust.
Right.
Especially when you're putting in that
credit card number.
Credit card number.
Yes.
One of the small clues, this is not always true, because the knuckleheads, they know this too, most of the better ones. But when you are in a site and you're paying and you look up at that web domain name and it says HTTP, you want to see HTTPS.
Right.
Because that S means it's a secure site.
Right.
Now, is that always true? No, because the knuckleheads have figured out that they can get a S and work around that. But it's just another way to
Sure.
Something else to keep in the back.
So
of your
shop
mind.
from reputable people. I mean, it's just like if you're going shopping somewhere in a brick and mortar store, you know, you want to make sure that it's reputable.
And that's, you know, I obviously, my agency in this county runs on a lot of it's taxpayer dollars.
Right.
Well, all of it taxpayer dollars. Shop local if you can.
Yep. If you can.
Keep ourselves whole.
Try to help
I know
ourselves,
It's tough. I find, you know, I too, I go to Costco, and
Sure.
when we go down the hill, I try to do everything that I can up here, the best I can up here. But there are some things that I'm like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I'll
Yeah.
be down the hill and something I need, and it's...
You can't buy
more
everything here,
convenient.
and we try, but we can't, and we know, and everybody knows that. So you have to go down the hill a little bit, and it's too bad that we can't have our own Costco or our own Sam's Club up here or something. But you know, on the other side, the small stores all whine and cry when a big box comes in. So you can't win.
Right.
There's a no win on that.
Right.
So you do what you can. And one of the things that I also want our audience to keep in mind is we are, for some reason, let's take Facebook as an example. For some reason on Facebook, people are so free to give all this information that you wouldn't tell anybody normally, and you put it on Facebook. A couple of things I tell my friends, and I tell those who call. First thing what you want to do is make sure you don't, it asks for a birth date, okay? Don't put your birthday down in there. If you do, make something up. Don't put your real birthday down there just because you want all your friends to say happy birthday, because that birthday number is used a lot in security, and it goes with your credit cards, you know? So what was that, Jonathan?
At least don't put the year down.
Well, yeah, at least don't put the year down, but I believe in just faking a birthday. Just put something fake. You don't want to do that. And also when you post and you're saying, hey, you know what, I'm getting ready to go to Cabo, and I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, all of a sudden you put your address in Facebook as well.
Well,
they're trolling. They're trolling for this information,
and they know it's there. And we're finding that they know this more and more and more. When you put that in your Facebook, and we've seen cases like this. You put that in your Facebook, then they go, oh, wow. And even if you didn't put your address there, you didn't put any of that other information there, you have pictures. Almost always. Those people that are in Facebook that much, they have pictures. And typically, they've never turned off the geolocation function of their cell phone or their smartphone. So they go to the picture, it tells you exactly where you live. They can see half the time what the inside of your house is. They can see, oh, they got a nice, when they took that nice picture of your grandkids when they came.
Yep.
There's a nice big widescreen TV. And
That's
all
right.
that. They get that.
That's great advice. Turn off the geolocations on those photos.
Yep.
Because you're absolutely right. They're using that. So now they're using everything. Birth dates, actual GPS coordinates. I just don't understand it. People seem to think it's just so free. They'll put all their life out online. And it's just amazing. And you wouldn't go up to a stranger. I mean, that would be like going to some stranger on the street and saying, here's my driver's license number. Here's where I live. Here's my credit card. Have fun. That's what they're doing.
Right.
So, for those of you out there, and particularly kids, I want the kids to understand, if you're watching the show at all, don't put the real information down, and don't tell everybody that, where you're going, where you've been, what you're buying, and all that. Be safe. Remember that there's a lot of bad guys out there that they are using, and they're proving it, that they're using all the Facebook stuff in MySpace and even LinkedIn, which is supposed to be business driven. They're using all that information for crime.
One other site that I think is worth mentioning is Craigslist.
Yes.
Craigslist is a wonderful thing. If it's used properly, you can find some pretty good deals on Craigslist. But also know that the crooks are also cruising Craigslist.
Craigslist killer.
You'll watch some of the postings that will have people that have been burnt on Craigslist,
right?
But still need to use Craigslist for whatever reason.
Yep.
Don't ever put your number if you use it. Don't ever put your phone number or your address in Craigslist.
Okay.
Don't ever put the numbers. If you're going to put a phone number for somebody to contact you, spell out.
I see.
5 F-I-V-E,
right.
3 T-H-R-E-E-E.
Right.
Because that way the knuckleheads then don't, because
they're spiders. They're going in there.
That's
absolutely
right.
And good advice.
What do they call that? Crawling information. What do they?
Yeah, it's the spiders are crawling. They're crawling for information, and they're farming it, and they're really trying to farm the info.
Yeah, and you'll get the notice from an ad you had on. This happened to my family. My daughter came to me. She had a motorcycle on Craigslist.
Right.
And she gets a check in the mail for $2,500 for this motorcycle.
Okay.
And she says, Dad, look, I got money for my motorcycle. They said to go ahead and put this in my bank, ship the bike, and send back this money so that they can pay for it. It was some weird thing. And I said, no, it's a scam.
Yeah.
But it's good. I said, go try and deposit the check. They'll tell you it's closed.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't exist.
Or wait the 3 days.
Wait for a while.
That's right. Wait
And it
until
was a
they're going
scam.
to.
And we get those at the office
Oh my.
daily.
Yeah. Well, one of my suggestions is one of the great tools out there is called Google Voice. So you can sign up for a Google Voice phone number. Okay. If you're going to, really want to put a phone number or some way of doing that, get one of those numbers. Okay. Because it's not, and then you can tie it to one of yours, but the bad guys don't know that. They're just calling a number. And then after a while, if you want to just get rid of that number, just change it again. But you don't need to put your real cell phone number down. You don't need to put, you can get a number from Google that's just used strictly
And
for
is there
that.
a charge for that?
Nope, totally free. Totally free.
Huh. So that number is just a forwarding
Yep,
account.
that's all it is.
Just calls and then forwards.
Correct. And you
So
can
if
forward
you're-
to any phone you want.
That's what. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're going on vacation, you're going to be away from the home,
Yep.
or you left home and you forgot your cell phone. You're with your wife.
Yep,
They could forward.
correct.
Imagine that.
The way I use it, we use it here for a couple of numbers, but one of the main numbers we use, it goes to both Jonathan and I, or it goes to my cell phone and my office line, and it's just one number, and I can tell it where to go. But people don't know that. They're just calling a number. They don't know
And
what
you
it
can
is.
forward it to more than one place.
Yeah,
Aye.
yeah. I got it going to my office and my cell phone at the same time, so both will ring.
I'll be darned.
It's perfect, and it's free, so it's a good tool to use. So I suggest get a Google Voice number. Doesn't cost you anything, and use that number if you're going to want to put a number in Craigslist or whatever it may be. So,
Now, how about the area code selection?
they have numbers in multiple places. So I have a 530 phone number. The only thing is in caller ID, it says it's coming from Redding, California. Who gives a darn where it's from? I kind of like that fact that it doesn't really tell you where it's at. So I picked the number, but yeah, they've got area codes, just about every area code there is.
Now, see, my cop mind
Yeah.
goes to flip side. Now I got crooks out there
Yeah.
that are going to be using this,
Yep.
and when we're trying to track
the
a
number.
knucklehead.
Well, they're already doing it. It's been out for a while, so that's one more thing for your cyber guys to talk about because, it is a tool that everybody uses. But we use it for good, but the bad guys, it's just like a gun. They're going to
Absolutely.
use it for bad.
Absolutely.
So
But it's not the tool.
that's right. But we want to make sure that everybody out there with the holiday season shop smart,
Absolutely.
shop safe. With it getting darker earlier now, like you said, make sure you're parked in a lit area if you're going to go shopping late at night. Late at night is 5 o'clock now.
There's also something that was brought to. I've known it for a long time, but it's hardly ever reported because nobody ever really looks. If you're out shopping or you're in some place, an unfamiliar business you're shopping at, or you're eating out
Right.
in an unfamiliar area or whatnot, or even if you're in a familiar area, if you're using your debit card or a credit card to pay your bill, before you leave, look at your receipt and make sure that the amount you charged was the amount that was actually charged to your account.
How do you do that?
Just look. If your bill was $32,
Right.
make sure you didn't get charged $52.
Gotcha. So when they're bringing back the receipt, make sure the receipt that
Yeah.
you're signing is correct.
It happens. It's not. Most of the time, it's a mistake.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give them the benefit of that doubt.
Right.
But frequently, you get out, man, that wasn't that much.
Yeah.
Later down the road,
Yeah.
you never question it.
Well, yeah, because most
Well,
people don't keep the receipts
Yeah,
anyway.
and it's not the business; it's typically the person behind the register that's
Well,
making
they're
an
the-
extra $10 or $20.
There's the bad guys out there that have their own little scanner.
Yeah.
They got it in their pocket. They scan that card before, and they do that too. So, but you know what I've gone to do, and this is a lesson that was learned almost 40 years ago. When I at a restaurant that I don't know, and you're writing the amount in, you got your tip and your amount. I physically write out the number, maybe $50.26. I actually physically write that out, and I put that on there. They can't change that. They may be able to change a 3 to an 8 or something.
There you go.
But if you actually write it out like you do on a check,
Huh.
they can't change it. That's
Gotcha.
what I do.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Simple, and it's very effective because then you can go, here it is. It's written out.
Nice.
Yeah. So one more hint for all those out there. We're trying to keep everybody safe.
bet.
That's the great deal about it. So, Sheriff, I think we've done a lot today, and we've helped. We've cured all the ills of the world. Sure. We've helped the shoppers out there. And I want to thank everybody for watching it. We got a 30-minute showdown. I think that's great. I think we covered a lot of topics. Once again, I want to thank you very much for coming and being part of the show, because I get people calling all the time saying what a great show it is with John. So what's neat about it is we can talk about all kinds of things.
Good.
Not just law enforcement. We got all kinds of things to talk about.
And one of these times we're going to talk guns.
We are going to do guns. Good. We are going to do guns. We'll do that one. I think we're going to have a good time with that. But I want to thank you again for coming. And how does your Christmas season look? Do you think we're going to do a December show? Or
yeah, I think
we'll find out.
I think so.
That'd be neat. And maybe we'll wear a Santa hat or something. I don't know. That'll be great. So, but absolutely, thank you again so much for coming in. Hey, you guys out there, thanks for watching the show. I think you get to learn a lot, and we have a really good time. And we're looking for sponsors. So if any of you guys out there want to get your message out, give us a call. This is Rob for Old Guy Tech TV. We'll see you soon. This episode of Old Guy Tech TV is brought to you by Ward's Automotive, specializing in Banks Power and Pack Brake, servicing your car or truck and specializing in diesel engines. Over 30 years of service, located in Diamond Springs, California. Give them a call at 530-626-5588.